Welcome to the special meeting of the Cape Coral City Council. Today is November 17th, 2023. This meeting now comes to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Your Honor. Before I call the roll, I would like to announce that Councilmember Steinke has asked to be excused, and I will mark him so. Mayor Gunter,
Here.
Councilmembers Cosden,
Here.
Hayden,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Shepherd,
Here.
Welsh,
Here.
6 present, 1 excused.
Thank you. Is there a motion to allow Councilmember Shepherd to appear remotely? And this is due to unforeseen emergency.
Motion to deny.
Is there a second to that motion? Seeing no second, that motion has failed. Is there another motion?
Motion to allow. Second.
Is there any discussion? Councilmember Welsh?
Yeah, I think we had this conversation like 3 weeks ago, to where we weren't going to allow remote participation, and now we're going back on what we already voted on. So that's why I made the motion to deny, because it was pretty clear that this council made the decision to not allow remote participation. So I'm still going to be voting no on this for that reason only. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just clarify, Councilmember Welsh, that typically our council rules says that we have to notify council in the event that we are going to miss prior to the meeting, prior voting meeting. But there was a stipulation in there, if it was an emergency that has arisen, they can notify the city attorney's office, explain what the emergency is, and I'll let the city attorney speak. And my understanding that the reasoning for the absent, as far as being here presently, met the threshold that we had set as a council. So, Mr. City Attorney?
Yeah, the rules as they state right now states that the council member has experienced an emergency. I did speak with the council member before this. He did, in fact, convey to me the emergency. It did amount and did reach that level, just based upon my understanding of it. That does allow him then to seek to participate pursuant to your rules remotely, provided there is a motion that's seconded and is voted upon. So it does in fact meet at least the limited requirements for remote participation under the rules as you guys amended it.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see any other discussions. We have a motion and a second on the floor. To Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Welsh,
Nay.
Cosden,
Aye.
Gunter,
Aye.
Hayden,
Aye.
Long,
Aye.
Shepherd,
Aye.
5 ayes, 1 nay, motion carried.
Okay, item 4A is citizens' input time. Maximum 60 minutes is set on input of citizens on matters concerning city government, 3 minutes per individual. Please remember to state your name. We'll utilize the podium to my left, your right.
Good afternoon. My name is Julia Tari. I wasn't going to speak here today, but I've been asked by the news several times if I feel vindicated about what happened with Ms. Cummings during this situation. And I just wanted to say no, because I had the opportunity to read the entire report from Amira Fox's office. And I'm disappointed that my family, my children, my husband, and myself have been harassed, bullied, and so many people sitting in those chairs up there knew prior to the election and swearing Patty Cummings into her seat She did not live in her district. And it's verified through their own reports with the state attorney's office. And I feel that I have very little confidence in your decision-making to pick someone else to replace her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Tom Shadrack, a permanent resident in District 1. I am also the ousted chairman of the Budget Review Committee that was motioned by Patty Cummings. I'm going to focus my discussion here today on integrity and trust. The mayor from the dais and to the news media has
Sir, I'm
stated-
going to ask you to address us as a body and not as an individual.
I'm just stating some facts. I'm not attacking you. I'm just stating what you've said.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay. Has stated numerous times the importance of election integrity and making sure the citizens of Cape Coral have trust in our local government. It's further been stated that the issue of Patty Cummings' residency is only one individual, and the rest of the council was not involved in this, and there's no other issue with remaining council members having trust or integrity problems. I am here to take issue with that statement. Julia, who just spoke, my wife, and I have been diligent in exposing the truth for 10 months. We have put up with retaliation and abuse in person and social media for our stance on this issue. The question remains about what the council knew about Cummings' residency when you certified the election. 2 outgoing members did not show up for the vote, Ms. Nelson and Ms. Tate. Hopefully you are not considering giving the seat back to Mrs. Nelson because she was keenly aware of Cummings' residency and did nothing about it. We now have sworn testimony that Councilmember, I'm just saying facts, Shepherd was fully aware of where Cummings was living before and after the hurricane and election, and that he had visited her at both residences in District 2 and 6. And worse yet, he attempted to hinder getting to the truth by his votes and not cooperating with the council-approved investigation. I went back and watched the videos of the council meetings where the issue was discussed. That's March 15th and June 26th. The most troublesome was Mr. Shepherd's comments that everything...
Sir, I'm going to ask you to identify us as a council.
Okay, the council, someone said on the council that everything in Ms. Sprout's report concerning his name was false, and a lot of other things in the report were made up fiction. It is now clear that that was a lie, and it was protecting Cummings and other members of the council. It is also questionable about how much the rest of the council was aware of the facts, so the trust that the public has at the council is seriously broken. To further talk about trust, the deletion of the volunteer boards is a huge issue about concealing the truth to the public. The Breeze had an excellent editorial on this today. I am asking 2 things here today, and I hope a few extra seconds because you interrupted me. For the sake of restoring trust to the council, the mayor should ask for the resignation of Councilmember Shepherd. Should you not agree, then the council should invoke censuring language
Thank you, sir.
on your council rules and procedures concerning his
I gave you the extra time that I interrupted you. Thank you.
Secondly,
Thank you, sir.
replacement. You need an election.
Thank you.
We can't trust what you would do.
Thank you.
John Sullivan, Southwest 10th Place. We all know that Patty Cummings in District 4 has been arrested and charged with 3 third-degree felonies related to her residency. I have a few questions. How will the council proceed if she's found guilty? It could open a can of legal worms. If convicted, the illegal votes could be called into question. Will deciding votes be taken again, or will they be reversed? How does the council intend to proceed if she's found guilty? What's the plan? The council knew this could happen, so I would suspect there is a plan B, and I think the residents deserve to know what that is. As I recall, she was the deciding vote and driving force to remove Chairman Shadrack of the Budget Review Committee, as well as limiting the committee access to city staff and pertinent information. I believe her activities may have contributed to the implosion of the Budget Review Committee, which guaranteed there be no taxpayer oversight or participation in the final 2024 budget process. I have to wonder why she was so driven to get rid of Chairman Shadrack and the Budget Review Committee. Other critical votes, as I recall, renewal of Mr. Hernandez's contract and a vote to dismiss him. In both instances, she instigated for his removal. Without her vote or influence, he may not have been removed. If she is found guilty, how will this must be resolved? Was she someone's pit bull? Did any council members know or suspect that she misrepresented her residency? Was there a conspiracy here? Many questions, and I think the residents would like to have some answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, citizens' input is now closed. Is there any council discussion on citizens' input? Councilmember Welsh.
Yes, in response to the last resident that came up, I think we're here today to figure out what we're going to do in the interim time. As we all know, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, so looking back at previous votes, I think that will happen if, in fact, that she is proven guilty in the court of law and she is removed. Technically, right now, she's just suspended from her seat, and I think we're meeting here today to discuss what we're going to do in the interim until that judgment has been made. And I'm pretty sure we'll rely on the city attorney to provide us with that information on what our choices will be. So I don't think you're going to get those answers today. I think what we're going to do today as a collective body is decide what we're going to do, like I said, in the immediate interim. Thank you.
Seeing no other discussions, we'll move on to item 5, new business. 5A is a discussion on the Office of the Governor's Executive Order 23-228, suspending Councilmember Cummings, which subsequently causes a vacancy in the District 4 council member spot. Mr. City Attorney.
Yeah, and I just want to briefly kind of provide the council with the legal guidance regarding the legal operative effect regarding the executive order that was issued by the governor. The governor took 2 separate provisions by way of which he took suspension action against council member. Specifically, it was under the Florida Constitution, but more importantly, it was also under Florida Statute Section 112.51. The significance of 112.51 being triggered by the governor in suspending the council member deems it to be a temporary vacancy pursuant to statutory law, not pursuant to the city charter. As you may not know, the city charter has 4 specific delineated requirements, none of which are implicated at this point in time, but based upon the statutory authority the governor invoked, we now have a vacancy, and based upon that vacancy occurring, we then are required to fill that vacancy as required pursuant to Charter Section 4.11. So that is the basis by way of which we are operating today as to find out what it is that the council is going to do, because the action taken by the governor was specific under Florida statute.
Okay, thank you. So today, by what we have to decide, since there is a vacancy and by our city charter, that we basically have 2 options. First option is we could have a special election. And I know some council members have been here long enough. We had the supervisor of elections, Mr. Tommy Dool, who is also here and present today. If any council members have any questions directly for him, I'm sure he'd be willing to answer any questions. But as we have been advised in the past, that is a very costly option. But that option is on the table for us. The second option is an appointment. And by charter, if we decide to go with an appointment, we have 30 days to fill that particular position. So the first task at hand here today is we have to determine if we are going to do an appointment or if we want to have a special election. So that'll be the first item of discussion to start with first, and depending upon the outcome, we will need a motion on that particular choice, and it will have to be voted upon. And at the outcome of that particular vote, then that'll precipitate our next conversation. So with that, I will open up the dais, and I see Councilmember Welch's light on. So Councilmember Welch, you have the floor.
Yeah, between those two choices, I mean, I think this is the third time I've had to do this in my term. But my question for the city attorney is, in light of public trust and public interest, is there a third option where we could ask the governor to appoint someone to the seat in the interim, since it was the governor himself who suspended the seat?
Under the authority set forth under the statute, the charter is the guiding document that controls what happens in the situation, and the charter is then triggered as a result of that statutory provision. So in essence, to answer your question, no, it would not be legally appropriate to ask the governor to appoint.
Okay, I was just making sure because I know he has the authority to remove. I didn't know if he had the authority to place.
He would have the ability to appoint if the city's charter was silent on the process, but because the city's charter is specific as to what were to occur if there was in fact a vacancy, that will control.
Well, in that case, then, like I said, obviously we've gone through what the costs to run a special election would be, and knowing that this is going to come up again next year, I don't see having the city pay for that. So my vote would be to then have us appoint someone for the interim position. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. City Attorney, please correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding too, this appointment will be, once it is made, until the general election, or primary and general election of next year. So this appointment will be until then, and then we will still have a primary if there's two or more candidates that apply to be on the on the docket for the election for next year, and then if there's not, then it will go straight to a general. If there's less than two people or less would go straight to the general for next year, and then that election would be for a 2-year seat. So we would get back and cycle for this particular seat. Is that correct in my understanding?
Yes, Mayor, correct, because there are essentially 3 years remaining in the council member's term of office under the city's charter. The appointment that would be made by this council within 30 days from yesterday will be only through the general election, which will be in November of 2024. At that point in time, there would have to be an individual that would be elected to office for the remainder of the 2-year period, which will be through November of 2026. And also, I just want to, because we do have 3 years, I would be remiss if I did not say that she is suspended, but that is not a removal. And there always, so that you are all aware, there is always the potential that there could be an acquittal and there could be a reinstatement. So I want to make sure that you all understand that, because we do have 3 years before her term was scheduled to expire.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Long.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I think given the fact that that Mr. Doyle is here, he's taking the time to come meet with us today, and I appreciate you being here. For the benefit of not only this body but the public, I think it might be prudent to have him come up just briefly and discuss what that special election process would look like, not only logistically, but as far as the time frame and how that may or may not coincide with the elections that are already set for the upcoming year.
I think you all received, we prepared this today, and it was pretty quick. Chief Deputy Bernie Feliciano is here with me also to correct me for any mistakes I may make, but I think a special election right now, because of our March election in 19, is going to coincide, the timelines are coinciding with all the work that we're doing for the March 19th election, because your timelines are the 90 days, I think, is February 14th, and for 90 days, 120 is March 15th. So it just coincides with everything. If you look at the all the steps that are taken for the presidential preference primary in that time, as vote by mail-up mailing process, voter registration, book closings, canvass the board meetings, vote by mail ballot tabulation. Then we have Election Day on March 19th. Provisional ballots, canvassing and tabulation. This is after the election. This goes on, overseas ballot canvassing, and the post-election audit. If you look at section, the third paragraph on the front page, section 100.151 of the Florida statutes, when it says special elections called by local governing bodies, by either county commissioners or municipality, it cannot call a special election until notice is given to the supervisor of elections and his or her consent obtained as the date when the registration books close can be available. It's going to be very difficult to have the books available when they're closed 29 days before the March 19th election. So it's just, it really coincides with that March 9th. A special election would really be problematic for us.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And so just to reiterate, I mean, the timelines would coincide with the upcoming elections to the extent that it would be a negligible difference with regards to.
And then on that last page, you can see the benefits of appointing a person till the election of 2024 is the money that you would save, the turnout would be much greater. If you had a special election, you're going to have very little turnout. So your value is not going to be there.
Perfect. That's all I had. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Councilmember Hayden.
Yeah, I was going to ask Mr. Doyle to speak on that topic as well, but since I have the floor, I'm also for the appointment process and the ensuing election in 2024 and then 2026. So on that, I will make a motion to for us to use the appointment process to fill the seat.
Second?
Any other council discussion on that? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Welsh,
Aye.
Cosden,
Aye.
Gunter,
Aye.
Hayden,
Aye.
Long,
Aye.
Shepherd,
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, moving on to item 5B, the city's procedural responsibilities pursuant to the Florida law and the city charter. As I had mentioned before, the charter is extremely explicit. The appointment has to occur within 30 days. The vacancy actually took place yesterday. Looking back, as Councilmember Welsh said, I think I've been through probably 3 or 4 appointments since I've been here. We've typically used the same criteria each and every time, and I will remind everyone what we have done in the past. In the past, typically, we have had the city clerk advertise the vacancy, accepting applications, typically for about a 2-week period. After that 2-week period, on the 3rd week, we do internal interviews with the applicants. And then during sometime in the 4th week, then of course we have to do the appointment before the 30 days is up. I looked at our calendar, I looked at our meeting schedule. Again, the vacancy occurred on November 16th. I did speak with the city clerk today. She is confident that she would be able to advertise and get this out. So applicants could submit an application by 5 p.m. today. And that we could leave that open to accept applications for that 2-week period, which would take us until December 1st at 5 p.m., which is a Friday. And then that following Monday is December 4th to the 8th, which is Monday through Friday. We could hold our personal interviews during that time period. We have a scheduled council meeting, which is our last meeting of the year, on December 13th. We could add that as an agenda item to do the appointment. I would recommend that that would be the last item on the agenda. That's typically how we've done in the past. Because as we all know, if we do it in the beginning, the applicants wouldn't know the information and really couldn't make an informed vote, but we could do the appointment at the end of the meeting and then there's hiatus, and that gives them the opportunity to get up to speed by our first meeting in January. So my recommendation would be that we would open the application process at 5 p.m. today until December 1st at 5 p.m. That's 2 weeks. We do our interviews between December 4th and December 8th, and we add that as an agenda item on December 13th, the last item on the agenda, to make the appointment. So with that being said, that's typically what we've done in the past. I will open it up for any discussions from there. Councilmember Welsh.
Yeah, that's typically what we've done in the past, but in the past, we've done this when we don't have a council member suspended. We either had a council member pass away or a council member resign. We also didn't have it due to election issues. So I'm okay with that process. I think everything is fine. But when I look at the election results that we had, we're talking a 53 to 46%. So we already have a member who can come in, fill the seat for the year that's needed to be, already knows the ropes, knows how to vote, can get us through the process. They have 46% of the city voted for that person, and we would then save a lot of money and time by just appointing or asking that person if they'd be willing to take the appointment. And that person would be Jennifer Nelson. I just think it's easier, cleaner, and it also restores public trust because it is someone that the public did have the opportunity to vote for instead of them thinking that we're just picking and choosing whoever we want on the dais. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little, have a difference of opinion there because we've had a process in place that we've utilized at least 4 different times that I've been here in the last 6 years, and that process has always been the same. So contrary to what you just stated, I think if we decided we're not going to accept applications, we're not going to do anything, and we're just going to appoint Ms. Nelson, if anything, to me, that's more of an issue with public trust because now we're changing from what we've done time after time after time. So for me, I think the fairest thing to do, and Ms. Nelson can apply just like everyone else, is we open it up like we always have had. And if Ms. Nelson is interested, she'll submit an application, she'll go through the interview process, and if by a majority vote of this council, that individual, whomever it may be, that's who we will pick. To me, that will probably, for me, be a better process and probably be better for our community when we're trying to establish that public trust, which, as we all know, has been hampered as a result of these allegations that have been filed against Councilmember Cummings. So for me, we've done it the last 4 times a particular way. To me, we continue down that path. That way, we as a council show consistency on when this does come up, no matter if it's a removal, a suspension, a death, a resignation, and we've had all of those, unfortunately, that we've applied the same standard time after time. So for me, I think we continue down the same path that we have had to do, unfortunately, several times in the last several years.
Yeah, no, I agree that the process works, and I was just offering another idea. So, thank you.
So I don't see any other lights on. Councilmember Hayden.
Yeah, I agree. I think the process works. I think it's the fairest way to do things. So with that, I will make a motion to continue with that process of applications being available today. Take those applications for 2 weeks, begin the interview process the week after that, and then take it to a council vote on, was it December 13th?
Second.
My only clarity that I would ask is, and we've had this problem before, I think we need to be very specific with dates and times. because we've had issues where applications came in after the
Yeah,
deadline.
I just couldn't remember what those
Yeah, so-
ensuing dates were, so.
Yeah, I will refresh your memory. The applications would be accepted by 5 p.m. today and accepted until 5 p.m. on December 1st. And then we will have our staff arrange interviews between December 4th and December 8th, and we will make the appointment in our December 13th meeting as the last item on the agenda.
Okay, so I will clarify the motion to include applications being available as of 5 p.m. today, continuing through 5 p.m. December 1st. Interviews then would take place between December 4th and 8th, with the appointment then occurring at the council meeting of December 13th.
The second agrees.
Okay? And Mr. City Attorney?
Mayor, just one thing that I just want to point out. In my experience, sometimes the members of the governing council may decide that one of the criteria is that the person will agree not to run in that 2024 election. I don't know where you all are on that. That is something that if is of interest to you as a body, you can require that as part of the process for application. I'm just putting that out there because I know that that has come up in my experience from other municipalities. And I wanted to make sure that that was not an issue or concern for any of you six.
Yeah, on that note, for me personally, the way the motion in the second, I'm comfortable with that format. I think it'll be a personal choice, whomever we appoint, whether they want to run or not. I guess that could go either way. They could say, yes, you know, one of the stipulations was we could put in places you have to run, but, you know, that person may get into the seat and say, no, this isn't for me. So I personally wouldn't want to make that stipulation either way. To me, that's a personal choice.
The question is typically always asked.
So, and we could always ask that in our interview process, if that particular individual is interested in running. If we have a personal belief in that, then that could be reflected in that particular council member's vote for appointment. Any other discussion on that? Okay, seeing no other discussion, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Welsh?
Aye.
Cosden?
Aye.
Gunter?
Aye.
Hayden?
Aye.
Long?
Aye.
Shepherd?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, time and place of future meeting. We have a committee of the whole meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, November 29th at 2023 at 9 a.m. here in council chambers, which is immediately following a Cape Coral Community Development meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.